A man breaks into a woman's apartment to quietly fix a light cable. He has done this dozens of times before, but this time, when he looks toward the sofa, he finds her lying in a pool of blood. She looks dead, and now he is the only witness to a murder he was never supposed to see. This is following. The main character is Yong Tae, a real estate agent in Dobong District, South Korea. On the outside, he looks completely ordinary. In reality, he has a disturbing hobby. He loves watching other people's private lives, and his job makes it easy, because clients hand him the keys to their homes. The moment they leave for work, he lets himself in just for the thrill. Before he goes, he always steals the most useless item he can find and photographs it. He keeps everything in a secret room inside an abandoned building. Hundreds of stolen trophies lined up next to photos of the homes they came from. Out of every house he has entered, one person interests him more than anyone else. Her name is Han So-ra, a social media influencer. His obsession started 5 months earlier, when he spotted her in a convenience store. While he was watching her, he caught something strange. So-ra was posting photos of vegan food online while eating a sausage at the exact same time. Right away, Yong Tae understood that she cared about her image, not the truth. He followed her home, walked in, and learned her name from her mail. Online, he found her Instagram with 28,000 followers. She used to show off a luxury lifestyle, but lately her content had shifted almost entirely to charity work and social causes, and people loved her for it. For almost 4 months, Yong Tae keeps her under constant surveillance, and he becomes fixated on one problem. He cannot crack her apartment passcode. He even places a transparent sheet over her keypad to lift her fingerprints, only to find out the code is far longer than he expected. Stuck, he sits at home staring at his beloved ant farm, looking for another way in. Then he gets lucky. The very next day, So-ra walks straight into his real estate office. Her lease is almost up and she wants to move out, so she needs him to find someone to take over the apartment. To make it easier, she hands him her key so he can inspect the place. The moment she leaves, Yong Tae goes straight there. Wearing gloves, he searches every corner, and in the bathroom, he finds strands of hair and a contact lens caught in the sink drain. As always, he takes a souvenir, a nearly empty bottle of lotion from her bedroom, and photographs it. Remember that lotion. A week later, he enters her apartment for the 3rd time, using a broken light cable as his excuse. Then he looks toward the sofa. So-ra is lying there, covered in blood, apparently dead. His first instinct is to call the police, but panic wins. If they find out he has been sneaking into her home, he becomes the obvious suspect. So he leaves and calls a client who is looking for a new place. His plan is cold but smart. He wants someone else to officially discover the body. But when the client arrives, the story gets stranger. The body is gone. The apartment has been completely cleaned. Someone removed So-ra and erased every trace of the crime scene. Then a terrifying thought hits Yong Tae. What if the killer saw him there and now sees him as a witness? 4 days later, we meet homicide detective Oh Young-ju, who is fighting with her superior because a colleague keeps taking credit for cases she builds. Her attention soon turns to So-ra. Back at his office, another shock is waiting for Yong Tae. A red envelope has been delivered. Inside are photos of him sneaking into So-ra's apartment, pictures of her blood-covered body, and a strand of hair from the sofa that might be his own, along with a message that makes his blood run cold. Whoever sent this is the real killer. Then the crematorium calls. Someone vandalized the memorial holding his late mother's ashes, but strangely, the urn itself was untouched. To Yong Tae, the message is obvious. The same person behind So-ra's disappearance is now coming after him. It escalates fast. Stuck in traffic, he is nearly crushed by a pickup truck rolling downhill straight at him, and the truck is completely empty. When the police question the owner, he swears he parked it properly with the handbrake on. Meanwhile, one of So-ra's friends, Ji-hee, reports her missing. Before she disappeared, So-ra had asked Ji-hee to call the police if she ever became unreachable. Young-ju's team checks the records. For 4 days, there have been no calls, no GPS signal, and no bank transactions. So-ra has genuinely vanished. That night, the detectives visit Yong Tae, since they know he holds a key to her apartment. He stays calm and tells them he was showing the unit to a married couple that evening, and that So-ra was not there. Then the police head to the apartment, while Yong Tae secretly watches from a distance. Inside, Young-ju notices something wrong. So-ra's clothes, makeup, and luggage are all still there. Then she spots a small trace of blood under the sofa, missed during the cleanup, and calls in forensics. The investigation is closing in, and someone is clearly working to frame him. Determined to find the truth first, Yongtai starts investigating on his own. Digging through Sora's old content, he finds a live stream where she tearfully denies misusing donations meant for stray dogs. In the comments, plenty of people openly hate her, and the loudest is Ji-hee, who is also an influencer and calls Sora's defense a performance. But when Yongtae looks closer at Ji-hee's accounts, he finds something bizarre. Even while attacking Sora constantly, Ji-hee seems obsessed with her, copying her clothes, her brands, and her makeup. Using clues in her posts, he even works out where she lives, right across from a laundromat. That night, when Ji-hee goes out, Yongtae climbs in through her window. Searching her things, he finds red envelopes identical to the ones sent to him, plus printed comments from an account called Be With You. He learns the man behind it is Lee Jung-hak, once completely obsessed with Sora, whose obsession has turned into hatred over the last few months, with some comments hinting at violence. Ji-hee comes home early, and Yongtae escapes seconds before she walks in. Now he is convinced Jung-hak killed Sora, and Ji-hee is helping him. But when Yongtae gets home, the power is out and someone is forcing their way through his front door. He grabs a baseball bat, and two intruders break in. During the fight, one of their helmets falls off, and Yongtae sees the face underneath. It is Jung-hak. Jung-tae runs and calls Young-ju, and building cameras confirm that two people entered his apartment. He tells her everything, that Jung-hak and Ji-hee killed Sora and are now hunting him. Young-ju is not convinced. If those two murdered Sora, why suddenly target Jung-tae, and why would Ji-hee be the one who reported Sora missing? Then Young-ju searches Jung-tae's apartment and finds something that stuns everyone. Jung-hak is dead, hanging inside. Buried in the sand from the smashed ant farm is another red envelope with photos, including one that appears to show Jung-tae and Jung-hak together like close friends, and another of Jung-tae sneaking into Sora's apartment. He insists the photos are fake and that he has never met Jung-hak in his life, but the evidence is damning. Young-ju moves to arrest him, and in the struggle, he knocks her unconscious by accident. Even so, he does not leave her there. Before running, he calls the police so she gets help. Yongtae goes on the run in a client's car, and public opinion turns against him fast. Ji-hee's content blows up online, exposing his blog and his internet identity, Ant Dad. Still, he keeps investigating. Using Jung-hak's ID, he finds the dead man's home, and inside he finds a note with a crematorium storage number. The number matches the exact location of his mother's ashes. Jung-hak was the one who vandalized the memorial, and he was almost certainly following someone else's orders. Jung-tae rushes to the crematorium, takes the urn, and searches through his mother's ashes.
이건 또 뭐야? 어?
His instincts are right. Hidden inside is the murder weapon used on Sora, along with another red envelope warning that whoever left it knows about his secret room. Shaken, he drives the knife out to a lake and throws it in. Next, he storms into Ji-hee's house and destroys her computer in the middle of a live stream, demanding a confession. Instead, Ji-hee denies everything and reveals the truth. The public feud between her and Sora was completely staged. Sora had been paying Ji-hee to attack her online because the more Ji-hee insulted her, the more sympathy Sora collected, until her followers saw her as a victim. And when Yongtae shows her one of the red envelopes, Ji-hee recognizes it instantly, because every payment she ever received from Sora came inside that exact kind of envelope. That is when it clicks. Jung-tae remembers the lotion he stole from Sora's apartment. The scent was unique, and it is the same scent he smelled on the second intruder who broke in with Jung-hak. The conclusion is unavoidable. Sora never died. She faked her death, and she was working with Jung-hak the whole time. At the same time, Sora's older sister comes forward and tells Young-ju that Sora was thrown out by her own family because of her behavior and her complete lack of conscience. The story flashes back. Long before she became famous, Sora built up huge debts buying luxury items to show off online. Worse, she reportedly sold her mentally disabled younger sibling to a human trafficking broker for money. Her parents rescued the child just in time, and her furious father threw her out of the house. Even then, she walked away with a blank expression, feeling nothing. With nowhere to go, Sora worked at a bar, desperate for money and attention. But it was never enough. One night, at her lowest point by a river, a photo of her went viral. People thought she had donated blood, when in reality a blood donation poster just happened to be in the background. As the praise flooded in, Sora started laughing. She had realized something. People will believe whatever image she shows them. That gave her the plan. She reinvented herself as a compassionate influencer, launched a donation campaign for stray dogs, and quickly collected 50 million won, forging documents to make it all look legitimate. She paid Ji-hee to attack her online. She posted photos with luxury items that actually belonged to strangers in cafes who had briefly left their tables. Then Yongtae entered her life. The first time she realized someone was watching was when she fed that stray cat, an animal she had injured herself just to create a rescue story. Later at a coffee shop, she caught him watching her again, and she panicked. She made a decision. Yongtae had to die. So she started stalking him in return, learning his routine and lifting his passcode with the same plastic trick he had used on her. That is why she gave him her key. Then she recruited an accomplice, her most obsessed fan, Young-hak, who would do anything for her. Step 1 was faking her death. So-ra drew her own blood, staged the crime scene, and when Yongtae found her body, she held her breath and stayed still, confident he would never touch her or check for a pulse. After he left, she photographed herself posing as a victim, then cleaned the blood, deliberately leaving one trace under the sofa for the police to find. She covered a knife in red paint and ordered Young-hak to hide it in the urn while he vandalized the memorial. But she never planned to kill Yongtae outright. She wanted it to look like suicide, so she terrorized him from the shadows, released the truck's handbrake, and created those fake photos of the two men together. The final phase was breaking into his apartment to hang him. That is where it went wrong. Yongtae fought back, escaped, and saw Young-hak's face. When Young-hak panicked, Sora calmed him down and showed him affection for the first time, and he never realized he had already become expendable. After killing him, she smashed the ant farm to fake a struggle and planted the doctored photos. Then she called the police using a false identity, told them Yongtae could be found in his secret room, and hit her own face with a baseball bat so she would look like a victim of abuse. Meanwhile, Young-ju digs into Sora's past. At the bar where she used to work, an employee reveals that Sora was once close to a woman named Yeran, who mysteriously disappeared a year earlier. Records show Sora was the last person to speak to her before she vanished. At the same time, Yongtae heads to the abandoned building, convinced Sora is hiding there. As he walks in, she attacks from the darkness and stabs him in the hand. But it is all a performance. She has chained her own leg and cut herself to make it look like Yongtae kidnapped and imprisoned her. When police arrive, everything points at him, and he has to run again. The next morning, Young-ju raises a troubling detail. The blood on Yongtae's shoes belongs to Sora, but the amount suggests a severe head injury that should have been fatal. Yet Sora is alive and walking around. Something is very wrong with the official story, and her superior refuses to listen. Realizing he cannot expose Sora alone, Yongtae finally decides to trust Young-ju. He writes her a letter confessing everything, including his break-ins, and asks her to meet him at Young-hak's house. A few days later, Sora is discharged from the hospital. Young-ju escorts her home and posts officers nearby. Then Sora finds a red envelope waiting for her. Inside is the photo of herself pretending to be dead. If Yongtae has that image, he can prove her death was staged. On the back is a challenge to come to Young-hak's house for the evidence. Desperate, she slips away. When she arrives, she starts searching for the photo, but Yongtae wants something else. He demands to know what happened to all the stray dogs she took in, since only a handful were ever seen again. The truth is horrifying. Once she had collected enough donations, she poisoned them and got rid of the bodies. Before he can react, Sora shocks him with an electric device, knocks him out, and ties him up. When he wakes, she does not hide her plan anymore. She is going to kill him and stage it as a suicide, complete with a note she has already written. As they argue, she notices him glancing at a spot behind her. She finds a hidden camera inside an air conditioner and destroys it. Sure, she has just ruined his last chance. But instead of panicking, Yongtae starts laughing. Then he drops the real bombshell. Young-hak was not the first person Sora killed. Long before any of this, she murdered Yeran. We flash back to his meeting with Young-ju. She had theorized that Sora killed Young-hak when his guard was down, possibly kissing him first to plant forensic evidence. That is when Yongtae handed over the contact lens from Sora's sink drain. Investigators matched its DNA with saliva found on Young-hak's lips, directly linking So-ra to him right before his death. Young-ju also asked whether Jong-tae had ever seen Yaran. He never had, but he remembered following So-ra into the mountains and watching her stomp on a patch of ground over and over for no reason. That memory suddenly means everything. Ye-ran had obtained photos of So-ra with questionable men and used them to blackmail her. Cornered, So-ra hit her in the head with a rock and killed her. Back in the present, So-ra realizes Jong-tae knows the truth. At the same moment, Young-ju's team makes their breakthrough, discovering Ye-ran's buried remains in the mountains, along with the bodies of the stray dogs So-ra supposedly rescued. Everything is falling apart. Enraged, So-ra decides to finish Jong-tae once and for all. Still tied up, all he can do is dodge and survive long enough. And help arrives just in time. Young-ju and her officers storm in before So-ra can kill him. So-ra is arrested and charged with the murders of Ye-ran and Jong-hak, and the attempted murder of Jong-tae. But Jong-tae is arrested too. He is still guilty of breaking into homes, stealing, and evading police. As she is dragged away, So-ra glares at him with pure hatred, blaming him for everything. 1 year later, So-ra is still behind bars while news of her crime spreads everywhere. Jong-tae is released on parole and visits Young-ju to thank her. She does not see him as a hero. She was just doing her job, and she reminds him that he is still a criminal, and that all of this started with his obsession and countless violations of privacy. In her words, prison may not be the punishment that changes him. Society itself will be. The film ends with Jong-tae walking through public streets again. This time, people recognize him. Some stare with fear, others with disgust, because everyone now knows what he used to do. As he sees the judgment in their eyes, he finally understands what Young-ju meant. Even after serving his sentence, he will carry a social punishment wherever he goes, and for the first time, he realizes it might be exactly what he deserves. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to stalk a stalker who's stalking you while faking your own murder, maybe just get a normal hobby instead.